if you'll allow me, I do want to say a word or two on the content creator known as 13 Signs Astrology. 13 Signs Astrology. Um, his videos, these newer ones, like within the last maybe few years, where he's talking about these bettings and these scores with the teams and the 1 to 0 binary code. It just takes so many different schools of thought that have to be mastered in order to read into something like that. Because while I don't have any knowledge of what the actual bettings are, because there's obviously things that he cannot say, possibly, I won't put words in his mouth, but he says things like that. Like there's some things that you'd have to meet him in person in order to find out about. I believe he did say that many times. And shout out to him. It's nothing but love. I'm not about to say nothing crazy. But he, now I'll admit, there's a lot of the videos that, I'll be waiting for part 2s and part 3s and part 4s on. And truthfully, the answers to a lot of these newer videos are found in his older videos. And because those videos are like, maybe like a half hour, 45 minutes long, an hour. If you can't understand any of the stuff that he's saying now, it can possibly be because you may need to go back to the older videos and do the refreshers, where he's just basically breaking down like the different schools of thought that are out there. He covers a wide ground of subjects, you know what I mean? To this day, I still follow him, you know what I mean? I don't care if he has one follower, you know what I mean? And I'm in the same position as him, you know what I mean? My PayPal is just as hungry as his PayPal is, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? And I can't get into my Cash App. I don't know what happened. My password was in my I had a Android, and I used a different email for that and got a Cash App through that. So, you know what I mean? I'm just being too technologically lazy to try to just go in the iPhone in this iPhone and try to retrieve it through emails. And I'm just, I'm having a lazy moment when it comes to that. So just the PayPal, yeah, I accept donations too. It's right there in the bio. But getting back to this, those storylines between like the teams and stuff, if you can understand, if you read enough context on like which each of these emblems are in any sport, in anything really for that matter, but when he talks about the sports, you can kind of see, like, while I don't know enough yet to really predict who would win or lose, or how the scores are good. I don't know anything about that, or how what goes into that. I don't know that part, but I do see how something like a team like Golden State Warriors could be considered a dynasty some few years ago. You know what I mean? Because that was at a time where there was a lot of illumination talk. A lot of the schools of thought around that time were like already out and getting a little bit more prevalent as far as occult information, and talking about getting into the golden state. You talk about alchemy, right? Mental alchemy, transforming lead into gold. You have Golden State Warriors, right? You have the warriors, the representatives of gold, right? Like another version of the Knights Templar. So you could, when you have a wider, depth of knowledge on various subjects. This helps you make sense of all that. It's like, yeah, it makes perfect sense to me. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't know enough to know like who should win and when they should win. Certain things I can kind of predict, but I'm not a gambling man, so you know what I mean. I don't know. You know what I mean. I ain't got money to lose in a bet. You know what I mean. So I'll just I'll have to see it like, I have to look at it like wrestling. Like, okay, if it's a storyline, it looks like certain people they keep putting in front of the camera, maybe their team is supposed to win, or whoever they're trying to introduce next, maybe they're supposed to be the ones on top, and maybe whoever they attached to is gonna win. So I'll be like making conclusions like that, and surprisingly, a lot of times I'll be right. I'll be like, oh, this look like this is gonna be, you know what I mean? Like, everybody knew that the Saints was gonna win the Super Bowl when Katrina happened, right? You get that? Like, it's only fair, you know what I mean? Their team is their team going to get all the way to the Super Bowl when they suffered that kind of devastation in New Orleans, and they're not going to get some kind of multi-million, hundreds of million possibly dozens of $billion situation framed in sports to help maybe rebuild or do whatever needs to happen in, in that part of New Orleans that suffered that after what they had to go through with FEMA, right? When you look into all of these things, yes, anything that is considered entertainment is really the word entertainment. So you ask yourself, everything that's being presented to you in media, period, in any sector, every sector, what is it training you for? If you answer this question, and there's no right or wrong answer, I guess it's just more so having the mind state to frame that question. Like, what is everything in this world that I'm seeing, hearing, all my five senses, what is all of this stuff training me for? What is it preparing me for? Entertainment, the fun and games and all of that, that's a disguise. Underneath, it's telling a story, because entertainment doesn't have anything to do with silliness. It's training. You know what happens in training? You build soldiers. What are soldiers there to do? Win wars. Entertainment don't have, anything to do with fun and games, really. It really, you train the soldiers for war. So, that in a nutshell. Just check out everybody. Keep an open mind. Super T Sigma Programming. You already know. Stay illuminated.